I'm Becca with the Happy Ever Crafter, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make custom hand-lettered Christmas ornaments like these using 3 different kinds of pens, a white one, a silver one, and a gold one. Let's jump right in. So first things first, let's talk about supplies. The main thing you're going to need for this video is an ugly Christmas sweater. I'm just kidding. Let's actually talk about the supplies. As far as tools go for lettering on ornaments, there are a ton of different colored paint pens and different brands of paint pens that you can use. For the purposes of this video though, I'm going to show you my 3 favorite kinds, and these are based on different ones I've tested. Generally when I'm writing on a Christmas ornament, I do it in one of 3 colors. I'm either using white, gold, or silver. That really depends on which Christmas ornament I'm using. I really like the look of white on clear. I really like the look of gold on these matte finished ones, and I also like to match the gold with the top of this ornament here. I like silver again to match the top of that ornament, and I think it pops really nicely on this matte. So I encourage you to try different paint pens, but for the purposes of this video I'm going to be showing you using Posca. So Posca is a water-based paint pen, and this is just a white Posca pen in 2 different sizes. Then I have Sharpie oil-based markers, and to be honest, these are generally my favorite. And then these ones are liquid chrome, and these only come in silver, so they're really bright silver. They're really great for using if you want it to actually look like chrome, really like saturated silver. And then there are a couple other things that you might want. So you might want a pencil. You might want a glass pencil. So this one is called the Stabilo Aquarellable. This is what we're going to use to do a little outline on the glass one. And you might want chalk, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But if you're using chalk, you also might need a pencil sharpener. So you can see that I've sharpened my chalk here, and that's what I used for that. Last but not least, potentially just a scrap piece of paper, ideally with guidelines. So first we're going to do these 2 matte colored Christmas balls. I'm going to show you 2 different techniques that you can use. So the first one is going to be using a chalk transfer, and the second one is going to be using a pencil, and that's to draw the guidelines of what you want to write on there. When you're working with Christmas ornaments that are like this and that are matte finished, or ones that have specific colors on them and stuff that you won't be able to erase, you really want to make sure that you have a guideline on there before you get started, because trying to use any remover on these will take off the paint finish, and that's really obviously not ideal. The first one we're going to do is just a regular pencil transfer. So for that one, you would just take your ornament and you'd write the word you want in pencil. This is going to happen differently for different people depending on how comfortable you are with lettering. You could try and draw guidelines as well as you can on here and then do your lettering, or you could just go ahead and freehand it. So I'm just going to write the word joy. So this is a pretty simple example. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but there's a really plain monoline outline here. And then I'm gonna take my gold pen, shake it up, and I'm gonna just go right onto the ornament. So with this, because we're doing faux calligraphy, meaning that you're gonna thicken some lines as you go back in the downstroke, you wanna make sure that you're thickening those lines as you go, because otherwise when you come back, you're gonna smudge it with your hand. Add the thicknesses to the downstrokes. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you've never done calligraphy before, I actually have a video on this YouTube channel about faux calligraphy, so that might be helpful. And that's it. Now, if you wanted to add any little extra embellishments, I often keep a smaller version of the same pen handy so that it's the exact same color. I would just add some little things like maybe snowflakes or little dots everywhere, just whatever you can do to make that a little fancier. And voila, you have a custom hand-lettered ornament with a little bit of extra decoration. The next technique we're going to do is going to be using the chalk and the pencil that I was talking about earlier. So this is a technique that you might want to use if you're writing something longer on your ornament and you don't want to risk screwing it up. So you could do actually what's called a chalk transfer. So what I'm going to do for this one is take just a regular pencil or pen. This one's just a micron size one. And you're going to write out what you want to write on the Christmas ball on paper first. I'm going to do, for example, one that's really popular these days is to have a just married or a just engaged Christmas ornament. So I'll do just married. And so I'm going to write it out on here first, and then we're going to transfer it onto the Christmas ball. So here's my just married wording. Generally, when you're using a Christmas ball that's about this size, you might want it to be even a little bit smaller than that, but for this one, I think it's gonna look just fine. Now I'm gonna take this paper and I'm gonna rip out just the portion. And then I'm gonna take it and turn it over and I'm gonna grab the chalk. Again, you wanna make sure that your chalk is sharpened. And then when you look through your paper, I want you to trace over just the parts where the writing was. So you wanna make sure that you're getting enough chalk on the paper, but you don't need to push too hard. If you get too much chalk residue on here, it's gonna make a mess on your ornament. So you wanna just use the bare minimum. So once you've done that, you've got a little bit of chalk residue on your paper, and now you're gonna take it and put it on your Christmas bulb, wherever you want that to land. This will really easily put chalk residue onto the Christmas ball, so you wanna make sure that you're just kind of eyeballing it until you're ready to actually put it down. And then you're gonna hold it down on just one end and take your pencil. You just wanna make sure you're being really careful not to smudge it all over the Christmas ball. And then you're gonna use your pencil to trace over again, and this will leave the chalk on the Christmas ball. My problem here is that because I lifted my paper for the second word, they don't fit together nicely anymore. So I'm actually gonna erase that first one. I'm actually gonna just write this on with pencil. The next thing I'm gonna do is actually just take my liquid chrome markers, and I'm gonna use the smaller one for this, and I'm gonna write over the words. There you have it for this one. So now I'm gonna wait for this to dry and then I'll be able to take off the chalk. The one last thing I wanted to do on this one is generally people want the year on this. So I'm gonna turn this around and I'm gonna write the year on here. Once it's dry, you can just gently take off the chalk. And there we go, we have a custom just married with the year. And the last demo we're gonna do, which is my favorite, is lettering on these clear Christmas ornaments. For this one, you're gonna want that Stabilo Aquarellable pencil and then a white paint pen, and I'm using Posca. I'm gonna take this white pencil and right off the bat, I'm just gonna write directly onto here. I'm gonna write the word Noel. So I actually like the way that that guideline looks, but for the purposes of this, I wanted to also demonstrate how easy it is to take that off. If you wanted to reposition that, you could really easily just buff it off with a paper towel. So that's the whole point of using this for a guideline. So I'm gonna redo that, and I'm actually gonna move it down a little bit, and you'll see why in a minute. Now, the other thing to note is that this Christmas ball is flat. If you are struggling with the round one, I suggest looking for these ones when you can. There's my word. Now I'm gonna go with my Posca pen and I'm gonna write over top of it. One thing I want to point out about the Posca pens is that these are water-based, they're not oil-based. I find that they actually tend to be a little bit streakier. If you notice that, then I honestly would probably just switch to the Sharpies. I'm just going to let this dry for a minute, but while that's happening, I'm going to actually take my smaller tip Posca pen and I'm going to add a little bit of detailing on here. So this is one way that I really love to add detail on these clear ornaments, is with a white, really thin tip. So what I did was I just added some dots at the top that were really close together and then gradually getting less and less close together, and then it sort of looks like snow. If I put my hand behind it, you can kind of see that effect, and I think it looks really, really pretty. Once your lettering is dry, if you had any residue from the aquarellable pencil, you could go in and gently erase those as well. But other than that, this one is finished. So there you have it, 3 different Christmas ornaments in 3 different colors with 3 different kinds of paint pens. I hope you found that helpful, and I would love to see your creations if you make them. So make sure you tag me or comment on this video, and I will see you in the next tutorial.